Wildfire smoke returned to Spokane today, creating hazardous conditions across the city. At times, it was difficult to even see the buildings downtown, and people had to turn their headlights on at 6 p.m. tonight. All that smoke caused our AQI to drop into the unhealthy and unhealthy for sensitive group categories today. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 11. I'm Mark Hanrahan. So the question now, is it going to look like this tomorrow? Meteorologist Thomas Patrick joining us live from the Weather Center tonight. Thomas, two questions. Is this smoke from the Ford corkscrew fire in Stevens County, and can we expect some relief tomorrow?
Yeah, to answer those questions, it did appear that most of the smoke in Spokane was from the Ford corkscrew fire. Are we going to see improvements tomorrow? Could be here or there. It's all going to be dependent on the direction of the winds and the intensity of the fire itself. Let's start with the here and now. This is what the AQI looks like across the region. Just small improvements between about the 7 and 8 o'clock hour earlier this evening to where we're standing right now, are kind of somewhere between that moderate and unhealthy for sensitive groups category. We're getting a couple different reports from both Spokane Clean Air Agency as well as the Department of Ecology. As for those wildfires and the radar map, you can see the spin of those rain clouds pretty much right around Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. So the flow of the wind was from the north. So obviously some of that wildfire smoke was settling into the Spokane County region from the last couple hours here. And that's, I believe, where all that smoke and fire came from that gave us that air quality hit. As for tomorrow, it does look like most of that smoke clears out, but notice that the direction of the winds are still pretty much out of the north. So we'll have to monitor this for tomorrow because there could be localized hits to air quality. But again, it's not just a blanket that pretty much covers all of the inland northwest. So we'll be tracking that into tomorrow. But for tonight, even though it does get into the mid 50s, probably not quite clean enough in terms of air quality to open up those windows. But obviously, we're going to be monitoring the situation all week long, giving an idea of how cool temperatures do stay through the course of this week.
All right, sounds good, Thomas. Thank you very much. Now let's get right to the fires that are causing all that smoke. The corkscrew fire burning in Ford has quickly grown now to more than 15,000 acres in just 48 hours. 20 buildings have been impacted by the fire, with at least 12 homes destroyed. Now FEMA has authorized funds to help aid in the fire, but local crews say they just don't have enough local resources.
We are spread very thin, and all resources, all fires have been spread very thin during this year.
Level 1, 2, and 3 evacuations still in place for nearby residents, and the fire has been moving so quickly it left some people with barely enough time to pack their bags. One family we spoke with today was one of the 12 who lost their homes.
So I think that's the hardest part for me, is just having to leave behind our family mementos and photographs. Basically everything like that is gone, and so that is really hard for me to think about, knowing that I don't have those anymore.
A Red Cross shelter is set up at Deer Park High School for anyone who needs it. The Springdale Rodeo Grounds and Chewelah Vet Clinic, they're also open to animals that need to be evacuated. Heading now to North Idaho, where the Character Complex is now pushing nearly 11,000 acres. Level 3 evacuation notice is in place for nearby residents. It is 10% contained tonight. Right now, power is out in all the Level 3 evacuation areas, and authorities say they'll turn it back on when it is safe to do so. Level 3 evacuations in place for the Summit Trail fire burning on the Colville Reservation. It's burned now more than 40,000 acres. It's 35% contained. Crews do not expect it to be fully contained by Halloween, they said. The Walker Creek fire burning in Okanogan County also prompting level 3 evacuations tonight. It's burned more than 22,000 acres. Crews do not expect it to be fully contained until mid-September, they said. Nearly 500 crew members are now working to contain that fire. There are several wildfires we didn't mention in this newscast. We just couldn't get to them, and that's why we have an easy way for you to get even more information. Just text the word FIRE to 509-448-2000, and we'll send you links with more on wildfires that are burning right in our region. We'll send that link directly to your phone. Startling data tonight from the Spokane Regional Health District. Spokane County has the highest number of COVID patients hospitalized right now since the beginning of the pandemic. Right now, there are 161 people hospitalized due to the virus. The health district also reported 251 new cases just today. 10 new deaths were also reported. Those deaths were from last week. Right now, 51% of Spokane County residents are now fully vaccinated. Base Canyon at the Gorge requiring everyone to be vaccinated before their festival this weekend. If you choose not to get vaccinated, they will be requiring a negative COVID test within the past 72 hours, along with the government ID. Negative results from an at-home test will also be accepted, they said. This comes as Watershed a couple of weekends ago left in COVID outbreak of 210 people. CBS News has confirmed that the White House is expected to announce this week that anyone who got a 2-dose vaccine should get a booster shot. The announcement comes as the CDC just okayed a third booster shot for immunocompromised people. The booster shots could come as early as mid-September if the FDA approves the plan. And as the Delta variant spreads, local businesses grappling now with how to protect themselves and their customers. A handful of downtown Spokane bars are requiring proof of vaccination now. And starting tomorrow, one local restaurant will also require patrons to prove they're vaccinated. KREM 2's Morgan Trow was in Brown's Edition today to learn why this Italian restaurant is sticking to their guns despite some backlash.
You're probably used to the phrase no shirt, no shoes, no service. Well, this Spokane restaurant has its own take on it. No shirt, no shoes, no vaccine, no service. The pandemic has taken a toll on the hospitality industry, but one local restaurant is only allowing vaccinated customers to eat at their establishment. The owners know it could hurt their bottom line, but they want to keep their guests and employees safe.
I don't want to tell you, no, you can't come in here because you don't have a vaccine, but I don't really know of any other way to really protect us.
With inspiration from big cities like Seattle, New York, and Paris, Italia Trattoria is one of the first restaurants in Spokane to require proof of vaccination for entry. Beth Bowman says her family-owned business suffered greatly during the past year, but if one of their 12 team members gets COVID, they'll have to shut down.
We're not like an Olive Garden. I don't have a lot of space. You have to be without a mask in my restaurant to eat.
This choice doesn't come without controversy, and Bowman says she's been feeling the heat. When she announced on Facebook the new guidelines, commenters were furious, but she is taking it in stride.
Do you really like my food that much that you're going to get that angry? Okay, well, that's kind of a compliment. Thanks.
She says people have threatened to sue, bringing up their HIPAA rights or discrimination. But neither of those laws work for this situation. HIPAA only applies for medical providers, and legislation says restaurants are allowed to have requirements to eat, as long as they aren't discriminating against race, ethnicity, or religion. So not only is she requiring vaccination for safety, but also for the sake of the restaurant's livelihood. Another shutdown could be detrimental.
It could possibly be the end of us this time. I mean, we can only go so many times, you know what I mean?
Kids under 12 are still welcome, despite not being eligible for the vaccine yet. Also, the restaurant is not currently doing delivery or takeout due to staffing issues. The restaurant will reevaluate if they want to open up takeout after a week of the vaccine requirement. Reporting in Brown's Edition, Morgan Trow, KREM 2 News.
Today marks 3 weeks since 5-year-old Michael Vaughn was last seen outside of his home in Fruitland, Idaho, and now the Fruitland Police Department and the FBI are continuing to search for the boy. Local and federal police have looked into more than 290 tips on his whereabouts. Fruitland police say they believe someone in the community may know something about Michael's disappearance, but they've just not come forward yet. So if you have any information about Michael, please email that email address right there at the bottom of your screen. The TSA extending its face mask requirements in airports and on flights. Their current mandate was scheduled to expire in September and will now be extended until at least January. The mask mandate also applies to public transportation, on trains, subways, and on buses. Tonight, pressure is building on the Biden administration to speed up evacuations from Afghanistan. About 1,500 people have been flown out since Saturday, but 11,000 Americans still in the country, which is now under Taliban control, and they have no word on when they might be able to leave.
It's a huge, issue right now, and I don't know how long and what kind of solutions, because we don't see any kind of solutions coming out of the embassy or the airport.
Says Afghans have no reason to fear their return. However, concerns remain, including about the large number of U.S. weapons now in the Taliban's possession. Turning now to Haiti, where the death toll from Saturday's earthquake has now exceeded 1,900, and the search for survivors has been severely impacted by Tropical Storm Grace. The tropical storm hit the country hard with rain and caused mudslides throughout the country. Many homes and businesses in one of Haiti's largest cities have now been destroyed, forcing many to camp out in the open. The UN and the European Union have allocated about $11.5 million in aid to the country. Well, after the deadly apartment fire in Browns Addition, community members are stepping up to help. Coming up after the break, we hear how some victims are doing tonight. Stay with us. We're back with more news and weather.